This is Martha Chapman, and I'm back with some more good food for our eyes, for our ears, and for our souls. As I'm sitting here reading about Moses, I realized that God set boundaries. Like before Moses went up to Mount Sinai, God spoke to him. While Moses was in the midst of getting instruction from God, God always spoke about boundaries. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. A lot of people don't have boundaries. So, I looked up in Webster, what does boundary mean? Mr. Webster said, a line that marks the limit of an area, a dividing line. Boundaries. Give you some examples. If you have a white interior in your Lexus and someone has chocolate brownies, are you going to set some boundaries? Or are you going to let them come and sit in your white interior car? If someone has mud on their shoes, are you going to let them walk on your nice, fresh, clean carpet in your home? Boundaries. Last example. If you have cooked a delicious meal, are you going to let somebody just open the door and, oh, let me taste your spaghetti and just take a spoon and... Boundaries. It's a line one should not cross. So as I'm reading about Moses is now bringing the children of Israel out of a situation, and then he ends up at Mount Sinai. He goes up, only him, and he initially went up by himself to have a conversation with God. As God is speaking with Moses, and as God is giving Moses instructions, he's being very intentional of what he is telling Moses. He's not half telling Moses anything. He's being so specific, and he is indicating boundaries on these issues, or there's grave circumstances. In life, if we don't have boundaries, we don't have structure. And if we don't have structure, it's chaotic, right? We have to have boundaries. Boundaries are needed in every circumstance. They just are. So I'm going to share a little bit of what Moses went through in giving instruction to the people of Israel. Exodus and Chapter 19, and I'll list the verses in my write-up, but I'm just going to take you on this journey with Moses. So, Moses, again, he initially goes up there, correct? All right. Then the Lord said to Moses, I'm going to come to you in a thick cloud so the people themselves can hear me as I speak to you. Then they will always have confidence in you. When you are a leader, you are not in leadership alone. And I like the fact that God said, Moses, don't worry. In other words, I got your back. I'm going to have some kind of symbol to let the people know I did tell him that. So you can keep your respect as a leader. Listen to this verse. This is 12. Set boundary lines that the people may not pass. Warn them. Be careful. Do not go up on the mountain or even touch its boundaries. God ain't playing with these boundaries, and we shouldn't play with our boundaries either. It's a line of respect, and it's a line of respect that is needed and should be respected. If one come in your space, if one come in your life, if one come with you in general, and they don't have no boundaries, what happens? You're irritated, you're complaining, you're not having a good time, you're not being true to yourself because you let them run rampant all over your space, all in your environment, because the boundaries wasn't initially set. So one doesn't read minds, and sometimes one doesn't have common sense. Let me continue on with what God told Moses. So Moses then, he goes down to the people and he purifies it. Like he's getting this meeting with the people and God ready, because God told him, get them ready, wash their clothes, and in 3 days, I'm going to come back and have a conversation with you. But listen to this. It was a dense cloud that came down upon the mountain. There was a long, loud blast from a ram's horn, and all the people trembled. Verse 20. The Lord came down on the top of the Mount Sinai and called Moses to the top of the mountain. So Moses climbed the mountain. Again, everybody couldn't go up the mountain. The only person that went up Mount Sinai outside of Moses was Aaron. As a leader, everybody can lead with you. Make the decisions. Mean what you say and say what you mean. Stay kind. If you have to get professional, stay professional. If it's not in that setting where you don't have to be professional, be personable, but say what you mean and mean what you say. But Lord, the people cannot come up on the mountain. Moses protested. You already told them not to. Again, he's questioning his leadership ability. But listen, look what God told him. This is what Moses said to God. You told me to set boundaries around the mountain and to declare it off limits. In other words, God had already said it, but Moses didn't want to repeat it. Man up, Moses. Man up, leaders. If God is telling you to do it, do it. Do it. And set boundaries. But the Lord said, go down anyway and bring Aaron back with you. In the meantime, do not let the priests or the people cross the boundaries to come up here. Lastly, so Moses went down to the people and told them what the Lord had said. I'm going to wrap this up with this. Boundaries bring structure. Boundaries brings respect. Boundaries brings no confusion. Say what you mean and mean what you say. May this word bless you. May it reestablish your leadership ability. And may it remind you that if God called you, he called you and only you. And if he gave you permission to call somebody else, he'll tell you. But do what God is asking you to do as a leader, and he will lead you in the right direction with the right circumstance. Please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, keep shining.